Welcome to FCA Radio, a broadcast of the Fellowship of Christian Athletes Sports Ministry.
Right here on Wdcx 99.5 FM in Southern Ontario, Western New York, and beyond. Shawn, former Mr. Ontario. He's an author at Faith and Fitness Magazine and bodybuilding.com.
I want to ask, why in the church are we more passive of taking care of our physical bodies? People don't like talking about, especially in the church. Oftentimes when we talk about mind, body, and soul, that our body is a temple of the Holy Spirit, we often neglect the physical aspect of those things.
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't, off the top of my head, I don't know why that is. I mean, we've all get a sense that maybe we walk into churches and we sense that perhaps, I don't know if this is true or not, but the average person is maybe slightly less healthy than what you see out in the public. I don't know if that's true or not. I think it's just a perception. Maybe a lot of believers, and maybe rightly so, think that they really use your soul and your spirit, so why spend any time on the physical? But I think we should be wise stewards of everything God's given to us. You know, I see a lot of people spending time in their cars and their houses. So, you know, we should fix up our physical body too, to a point. You know, and we talked about that earlier. It's all about balance.
So good, yeah. Yeah, it's very true. And I think just being compassionate, you know, too, like, because I think what you said is 100% true, Shawn. It's, but I think maybe people feel intimidated, right? Like, you know, because where do you start? I think that's the biggest sticking point is, you know, we have New Year's resolutions and, you know, all these things that we try to do to improve ourselves, and maybe we've been punched in the face a few times. We stepped out, we tried to do something here or there, and it never really stuck. And you know, I mean, maybe you could attest to this, Shawn, but one thing I've learned is like, hey, just go move. Like, it doesn't have to be perfect, you know? Like, if you can go for a run, just go for a run and enjoy God's presence. Be by yourself in nature and just go run. And there's joy in getting, you know, working up a sweat. If you can get to a gym and you have a trainer who can help you, you know, with your technique, because that's so much of it, you know, just go and just move the weight around, you know? Like, you don't have to have, you know, you don't have to be Shawn Maves, you know what I mean? Like, if it could be great.
I'd say Jake Hannon in that.
No, I wouldn't even put me in there.
Yeah, no, I agree. It doesn't have to be, and another thing, it doesn't have to be in the weight room. It could be running, it could be cycling, and maybe you do some, you know, a little bit of resistance training in your home. Just pick up, you know, buy some a small weight set or something. You know, like you said, It's just about staying active. Play some pickup basketball or something, like just develop some weekly routine where you're exercising at least 2, 3, 4 times a week, right? And then you're going to stay healthy.
Yeah, and it's routine, like you said, because if you don't do it, if you do it for 2 weeks and then you don't do it for a while, like you're just not going to see results. It's just, it becomes scientific at some point, right? It's spiritual. Like we want to serve God with everything we have. We want to have take care of our body, but like it's also practical. You have to do it over time. You don't see results right away. How important is it for us as believers to really rise up? You know, I know you have a robust story where you have such a unique perspective, but especially in the world that we live in right now, I mean, how important is it for us to make sure we're taking care of all aspects of ourselves?
Yeah, no, it's a great question. I think it's important to develop all aspects of who you are. Your soul, first of all, your intellect, your emotion, your will, your spirit, and that only becomes alive when we accept Christ as Lord and Savior in our life. And our body, we need to take care of this physical body that God has given to us. You know, we can be tempted to become spectators instead of participants, and you know, just eat the average North American diet, which tends to be high in fats and sugars, and put on a whole bunch of weight, and just let things run down, and instead of taking care of ourselves. And so I think it's important to develop all 3 aspects of our life.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's give our listeners a little bit of context here. They may know of you already if they don't. Former Mr. Ontario. You can see Shawn's training pictures online. He was just a massive guy. I mean,
still is huge.
Yeah,
Shawn, you're still big. You can rock it, man.
I haven't seen any recent ones, but yeah,
I'm in deflate mode.
But you looked like Arnold Schwarzenegger when I saw the other pictures.
I'll pay you later for that
one. But you know, it does. Okay, so I have some real questions. Like, it feels good to be strong, right? I mean, you could your kids need you to pick them up, or your wife needs you to move a bed, you can move it, type of thing, right? So that's good, right? But does it feel good to be that jacked? I mean, you couldn't even, they say you carry in suitcases because your arms are so far away from because you get your lats are so big. Does that feel good to be that jacked, like as strong as you were?
I wasn't that big. I think at my peak, my arms were maybe 19 inches, so I could bench press close to 400. But
wow.
Some of the guys today, you see, some of these top pro guys have 22, 23 inch arms. So, I wasn't at that level, but wow. I don't really miss the competing aspect of that part of my life. I kind of lived the dream for a little while. I went as far as I could, but I'm pretty honest about it. I tell people on radio and Facebook, YouTube, and some of these shows I go on. The truth was I was living a lie back then. I might have looked jacked in some of these pictures, but I was living a lie. I was using drugs to enhance my physique for 2.5 years off and on, and this is after I trained natural for 3 years. I was in the gym 6 times a week, and that's what it takes. It takes like you said, when you're married and you're waking up in the middle of the night, take care of kids, you can't do it, right? So it was I was a different part of my time in my life when I was single, and but I got out of it because of the drugs.
Let's start with someone who maybe just has no experience with fitness at all. It wasn't part of their family. They weren't an athlete. And they're just listening, and they're like, I mean, I've been wanting to get into this, COVID, I see everyone buying home gyms and,
Peloton.
Yeah. There's so many options today, right? But it can be, if you don't know anything about this, it can be overwhelming, and half the stuff that is taught to us is probably not even true. So, for you, if someone was, maybe has been a spectator, but they want to get in the game, can you give some tips? Like, where do we start?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think a lot of people want to start. They're not sure where to start. There's two sides of the coin. There's the diet and the training. You want to start to live a healthier lifestyle and stay fit. First of all, you need to look at your diet. If I'm talking to somebody who's 20 to 30 pounds overweight, with some simple changes, if you lower your calories approximately 500 calories a day times 7, theoretically you should be able to lose 1 pound a week of body fat. Up to a certain point. The first 10, 15 pounds usually come off really quick. So, I try to convince people, start changing your diet up. Start maybe instead of eating all the high carbs and the sugar drinks and all the desserts, start replacing it with more nutritionally dense foods. It's not about starving yourself. It's just about replacing what you're eating now with healthier food. On my YouTube channel, got a good resource called How to Lose Weight Fast. This is a segment we did for 102.9 down in Little Rock, one of the big talk stations down there. Check that on YouTube. Good resource. Another good resource is Robbie Ra's book, Raw Truth, The Raw Truth Recharge.
Shout out,
Robbie.
Robbie.
Recommend. You know all about Robbie's show just before yours on 99.5 Wdcx, and I'd strongly recommend checking out her book. I think it's available on Amazon. And secondly, I want to get to the training. You want to, first off, if somebody's new to a gym, you want to probably consult a trainer at a gym that you feel comfortable at. Maybe that trainer can help you design a simple program 3 times a week. And or you can invest in some home equipment if you can afford it, or invest in an online coach. And once you seek that advice, that trainer or the person who knows more about fitness than you do will help guide you through, what exercises to do and come up with a decent program 2, 3, 4 times a week. So I think that's a good start, maybe how to answer that question.